What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. And I know you can hear me now, right? I see the levels. I'm checking them. I see them. But I'm back in the building. And, you know, when you see me, you've become accustomed to the fact that one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. One is that the Motor City Cats are back at it. Two is that we came to give you stats and not static. Three is that we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And how do you keep your Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. You make sure you smash that like button. You make sure you share. You make sure you subscribe. And let everybody know what's going on around here. And that the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Giving you stats, not static. And keeping your Lions news pragmatic. We got some things that we got to get into today. Yesterday, Brad Holmes got on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long, and he has some interesting things to say. And I'm sure by now everyone has seen it, but, you know, I wasn't on live yesterday, so I have to come in and give my take, you know what I mean, to give you a fresh perspective on what you saw, what you heard, what you listened to. What up, though, to everyone in the chat? What up, though, Just a Fan? What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? What up, though, Tactical Sport? It is what it is. Yes, they are informing me that they can hear me, so it is all good. We have liftoff. All right, so the first thing that Brad Holmes talked about, the first real juicy question that we got in here, and that is the title of the show, that Brad Holmes just obliterated Ben Johnson. Now, he did it in a way which was very subtle. He gave him his flowers. He talked about how he was such a great coach. He didn't call him Osama bin Johnson. He stopped short of calling him Osama. He stopped short of calling him Benedict Johnson, but subliminally, he called this man a biatch. Subliminally. His take was that he had no idea Ben Johnson was going to Chicago. He knew it that Ben Johnson had interviewed with Chicago, but he did not know he was going there. He did not think that he was going there. As a matter of fact, he felt that Chicago was the last place that he would go. Out of all of the places, out of all of the destinations, he felt Chicago would be the last place we go. And then he, had a little jokey joke in there. It's like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, but why'd you have to go to Chicago? It's a little jokey joke, but it's not a joke. Most of the fans in here are the sensible ones, right? I'm gonna get to that one too, just a fan. He said he didn't watch the interview. He didn't feel like being gaslighted again. Oh, there's that. There's that. It's in there. But we're gonna get to that next. All right. So most of the fans in here, as I said, were the sensible ones. Your own general manager just came out and told you that the move to Chicago wasn't necessary. It wasn't expected. It wasn't known about. A lot of people felt like Dan Campbell knew that Ben Johnson was going to go to Chicago and was going to take the Chicago job and things of this nature. If Brad Holmes didn't know, why would Ben Campbell? Why would Dan Campbell know? Right? So now the fans that are like, oh, I want Ben Johnson to do well, and they refuse to call him Osama bin Johnson, and they refuse to call him Benedict Johnson. Brad Holmes just told you, I didn't expect him to go to Chicago. I thought Chicago would be like the last resort, pretty much. Right? So you got to read between the lines. No one in Detroit, within the building, is happy that Osama bin Johnson or Benedict Johnson, whichever one. You know, I prefer Osama bin Johnson because he's a terrorist. No one in the building felt like he was going to, or no one in the building appreciates him going to Chicago. No one wishes him success in Chicago. So all of you Lions fans that still can't understand why it is what it is, why it's F. Ben Johnson, why it's Ben Johnson is dead to me, why it's Ben Johnson is dead to us, why it's really the same sentiment within the Lions organization from top to bottom, because Chicago is in your division. And any success that Ben Johnson or Osama bin Johnson has in Chicago directly affects your ability to be successful as a Detroit Lion and as a Detroit Lions fan. Okay? Winning games for Chicago is how you deem success. Okay? Chicago winning games, bad for the Detroit Lions. Dallas Cowboys winning games doesn't particularly matter at all unless you're talking about seeding for the NFC playoffs. New York Jets, where Aaron Glenn went, winning games, losing games, does nothing for the Lions. Absolutely nothing at all. Aaron Glenn could win his division every year that he's in New York. Doesn't change anything for the Detroit Lions. Let the Chicago Bears win the division. Changes things for the Detroit Lions. Makes it harder for you to make the playoffs because you don't have that automatic playoff bid from winning your division. So again, if y'all are about to go to Meyer, shame on you, Meyer, for the Detroit Rams shirts. If y'all are about to go to Meyer and cop yourself some Detroit Bears shirts, think again. Think again, because we ain't taking you back this time. I still haven't taken you back. If you were a Detroit Ram, unless I know you as, as a stand-up solid citizen and you just had a brain fart and a bad, judgment call going and copping the Detroit Ram shirt, I could forgive you for that one. You buy a Detroit Bears shirt, you're dead to me. Okay? You're dead to this fan base. You might as well go ahead and buy an authentic Chicago Bears shirt because that's who you're a fan of at that point. So don't you do it. All right, let me see what y'all got in the chat. Just a fan says, I am still not convinced that Benedict Johnson wasn't checked out by the time of the playoffs and just trying to audition for himself. Meyer does have good hot dogs. My baloney has a first name. It's Oscar. My baloney has a second name. It's Mayer. Or is it Mey? It's May, right? Yeah. It's crazy how those jingles stick with us. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Sam's Club hot dogs was, they used to slap. I don't like onions, but I undercover, boy. You give me a Sam's Club hot dog, you put some onions on that thing. They were Polish, right? Polish sausages, I think. Were they Polish or no? They were just hot dogs. Anyway. Yeah, boy, you put some onions on that thing, some ketchup and some mustard. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So yeah, Osama bin Johnson, wish you nothing but the opposite of success. Wish you nothing but the opposite of the worst or the best. Sorry. Wish you nothing but failure. Wish you nothing but the opposite of job security. Coaching contracts are guaranteed anyway, so yeah, we can't say anything about him. He secured that bag, whatever it is, $100 million, whatever it is. That's for him and his family. So he's done his job there. Um, yeah, but again, if you come in my chat talking to me about some Detroit Bears and wishing them success, and well, I want them to have success when they just like when they don't play the line. No, no, success for the Bears is bad for us. Any type of success is bad. Any type of success for the Vikings is bad. Any type of success for the Packers is bad. Successful outings for your division opponents is bad for you. Okay, so that's got to sink in. That's got to sink in. I love to eat them every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say because Oscar Mayer has a way with BOLOOGNA. All right. So that was that. The second part of this interview, and not the second part of the interview. The second part, and this is what had one part of the heavies crashing out, and that part was easy. Shout out to the heavies, bro. Listen, let me address this thing, okay? So y'all not gonna let me live this down, and I'm just going. I never said that I was afraid of the Browns. I never said I was looking forward to the Browns game. I never said the Browns is going to be a challenge. What I said was I could see a path to losing to the Browns because that path is called a trap game. That's all. That's it. I'm not afraid of the Browns. I don't think the Browns have anything for us. None of that. Okay? So we need to stop this narrative. The chef or Motor City Don P is looking forward to the Browns game, got the Browns game circled on the calendar. None of that. It's none of that. Okay? Not afraid of the Browns. Never have been, never will be afraid of the Browns. Okay? I'm just saying, being objective. Being objective. You know, sometimes you go out and you got to get an opponent that's lesser than, and you know that they're lesser than, and you think that they're lesser than, and you play as they are lesser than. Sometimes you play down to your competition. And if you do that, you have an opportunity to lose. That's why they call it a trap. Now, do I believe that the Detroit Lions are susceptible to trap games? No, we went 15-2 last season. And every game that we played wasn't like a formidable opponent, right? So I don't believe that we're susceptible to trap games. I believe that Dan Campbell has these guys humming. You know, he has his finger on the pulse of the franchise, the locker room, the culture, everything. So, you know, we don't really deal with trap games. But if there is one, I'll just point it out. That's all. So, no, I do not, for the record, I do not believe we will lose to the Browns. No, I am not nervous about the Browns game. No, I am not anticipating anything coming out other than a W for the Detroit Lions. Okay? All right. We got that clear. Tactical. Easy is too nervous, according to Just a Fan. All right, so what he was crashing out over was the question. When I saw the interview myself, I watched it yesterday. When I saw the interview myself, Chris Long teed up a question for Brad Holmes about the edge position. He said, basically, he prefaced it by saying he had seen that thing with Big Z, talking about he wants to come back to Detroit. So he talked a little bit more about some other things, and he said, you know, basically, what is the state of the edge rusher position? He also mentioned beforehand that, you know, Brad Holmes doesn't like to be asked about the edge rusher position, and he gave him an opportunity to dunk on the media for asking him the edge rusher position question over and over and over again. So Brad Holmes talked about Aiden Hutchinson being back, how good he looks. He talked about Marcus Davenport, and I'm going to get to that one separately, about how good he looks. And it was unfortunate that he got hurt, but he looks good. His body, this, that, pause. He talked about having, did he mention Josh Pascal? I don't remember, but he said he got Levi Onwuzurike back, and that was important. And Ahmad Hassanin, okay, it's Ahmed. Tell these people how to pronounce your name, bro. It's Ahmed Hassanin. Just tell them. That's all. It's fine. You're not being an ass if you tell someone how to pronounce your name. Okay? What he said about these two players, and these two players continue to trigger me. Marcus Davenport and Ahmed Hassanin. Okay, I'm gonna get to it. He didn't mention Big Z at all, and he said, I think we're good with the edge rusher position. I took that as nothing more than a GM not discussing or not willing to discuss a player that's not on his team. We see it all the time. Big Z may want to come back, but until he signs that contract, I don't know if it's an active negotiation. I don't know if he's told his agent, hey, just get the job done. I don't know what's happened. All I know is the word from Big Z's mouth. It wasn't AI. It wasn't a soundbite. You can actually go and watch the video of Big Z at the BET Awards. Okay? He actually spoke to people. He spoke to USA Today saying that he wants to be back in Detroit. Okay? My level of concern about him coming back to Detroit after that is very minimal. Y'all know throughout this offseason, I have been pounding the table, like Skip Bayless. It's my turn, Shannon Sharp. Okay, I've been pounding the table like Skip Bayless for Big Z to come back. Okay? I've been saying, please come home. I got beans and bologna. Yeah, I can't play the soundbite. Okay, if I play the soundbite, the video will be demonetized. That's crazy, right? It's a 30-second soundbite. Okay. Maybe if I would have played it once, then it would have been fine. But I played the one where it did the two please come homes. Anyway. So after hearing that, I was just less concerned. I figured that was the case. He's been running around town. He's been with Cash Doll. He's been at Pistons games, at Red Wings games, at Tigers games. He's been doing everything, right? He's been enjoying his time as a Detroiter. So with Brad Holmes not mentioning his name and not answering that part of the question, I think that's something that you see often. Right? You see this. It's not something that it's new. Like the GM cannot discuss a person who's not on his team. It's called tampering. Okay? So we'll see, but I believe it's happening. Tactical Sport, how much gaslighting did he do? Okay, let's get into the gaslighting part. As there was a whole lot of gaslighting. The Marcus Davenport situation where, it's unfortunate, that he got hurt. It is unfortunate, but it was also expected, right? Like people that mess up a lot in life, and they could be good people, but they just make the worst decisions at the worst possible times. We all know that one person. We all have that one friend or family member who does that. And because they're a friend or because they're a family member, you have an opinion of them that other people might not have, because other people might be looking at from the outside looking in going, this dude's a screw up. or this chick's a screw up. They're always doing this, that, and the third thing. When are they ever gonna get it together? Okay, so we all got that person. You shout them out in the chat. Shout them out. Shout out your cousin. Shout out your brother, your auntie, your uncle, your sister. You know, your stepchild. Shout them out, because we all got that person. Maybe even more than one person. But you, as I said, as a family member, as a friend, as a confidant, whatever the case may be, you have a different opinion. You know the person, you know their character, you know their heart, as they say. We know Marcus Davenport. We know Marcus Davenport's a good dude. We know Marcus Davenport's a beast. We know Marcus Davenport is the man when he's healthy, which is never. So we know he's great. But we also know, we expect that he's gonna get injured. Just like you know that person is great, whoever it is. Shout out to Cousin Screw Up, says Just a Fan, and he winks because Cousin Screw Up knows who he is, right? So we got Cousin Screw Up. We know Cousin Screw Up. He's a good dude, but he's gonna screw up because that's what he does. That's why his name is Cousin Screw Up. You know, or Uncle Screw Up. Or auntie screw up, or grandpa screw up, or daddy screw up, whatever. Okay? So we know that we expect them to screw up. Even when it looks like they got their life turned around and this time they're going to do it. They're not going to fall back and they're going to screw up. Just wait. So Marcus Davenport, even, now they're talking about, oh, he's been here, he's been in the building, his body, oh, he's looking good, man. He's looking good. No one has ever said that he didn't look good. Pause. No one ever said that his body looks like it's unhealthy, right? Man, this dude got an unhealthy looking body. Nobody ever said that about Marcus Davenport. Right? So this is where the gaslighting came in, Tactical, where he just expected us to take this at face value and just take his word for it. Like, okay, fine. We take your word for it, but we understand who and what Marcus Davenport is. Great dude, super good player, can't stay healthy. Okay? Can't stay healthy. Now, are y'all ready for the biggest instance of gaslighting? The biggest instance of gaslighting was when he was talking about Ahmed Hassani. And he said, he's not just some, he's got some development to do just like everyone. He's got some things to work on, but he's not just some super raw fish out of the water, like he doesn't know what he's doing. He said, as far as the statistics over the last 2 years, that Ahmed Hassani had the most production as far as sacks and pressures out of the entire draft class. Aside from the fact that that's very untrue, the community of mock drafters, the community of draft experts, the community of scouts would have said, no, he didn't go into that one. He didn't go into that one, just Tactical. Somebody, anybody, from somewhere, anywhere, somehow, anyhow, someplace, anyplace, would have told you that Ahmed Hassani was going in the first round. If he had the most production out of any edge rusher in the class, Charlie Ward won the Heisman. Gino Torretta won the Heisman. Neither one of them had NFL careers. But a Heisman winning quarterback, you can be told and you can be convinced that they are going to go in the first round. Ahmed Hassanin was never, ever placed anywhere near the first round in anyone's assertion, in anyone's calculation. And guess who else? Because our assertions and our calculations are not important. You know whose assertions and calculations are important? Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. You know what their assertion and calculation about Ahmed Hassanin was? He could be drafted in the 6th round. So when you're telling me that he had the most production of anyone in the draft class, I got to call Cap. I don't want to say that Brad is setting him up for failure. Obviously, he's going to give him all the opportunities that he can to do whatever. But it's wild to me that this is what we are doing. It's wild to me that we are taking a 6th round rookie and we're lying on a podcast about his level of production. What is it? Other than the fact that he called in and said he would die on the field, or when they called him, he told Coach Campbell all he needed was someone to believe in him. And he would die on the field. Guess what a 1st round pick doesn't say to a coach? All I needed was someone to believe in me. Now, a 1st round pick doesn't say that to a coach. A 1st round pick is very appreciative. He might tell you, you got a dog, you ain't going to regret this. I'm so happy you spent a 1st round pick on me. Right? I'm so happy that you believed in me enough to pick me in the 1st round. That's as far as that goes. All I needed was someone to believe in me is 7th round pick talk. Because all you needed was that one team to, after they pass on you 6 times, I just need somebody to believe. I just need you to trust me. That's all. So, I understand I look like a hater. But all this other stuff, I just want y'all to be realistic, man. I'm not hating. I don't hope the kid fails. I don't hope Marcus Davenport gets injured. I'm just asking you to be realistic because based on what? Shout out Neil Rule and Bow. Based on what? Marcus Davenport is going to stay healthy this season based on what? Ahmed Hassanin is going to be a dog immediately in the NFL based on what? He may turn out to be a dog, no question. He also may turn out to be Broderick Martin, but he probably won't. Just pump the brakes, man. He's, stop putting him in the Hall of Fame already. Let him play in the game. Right? Let him play in the National Football League. Don't put him there. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Can he grow to become a Hall of Fame player? Absolutely. All of these guys can. Will they? That's the question. Tactical Sports says, you can't see me right now, but I'm giving you the side eye. Nobody in the foreverdom thought he was going in the first round. Not even Brad. And that's my point. That's my point. If he had, based on Brad's assertion, that he had the most production out of anyone in the draft class. Okay? Now, maybe he was talking about his own draft class, but the way that I took that was, and I listened to the actual interview. It wasn't like something I read in an article or something that I couldn't pick up on the context. No. He said, out of the entire draft class. And that's what I'm saying. If he had all of that production that you claim that he had, he would have been drafted much higher than where he was. That's my point. Right? And as you said, right, for sure, nobody in foreverdom ever gave him a thought in the first round. Unless it was Boise State homers. Is BH trying to show Z Lions don't need a high price Z by saying we are set at edge? Maybe. But you don't think you're set at edge when you give a guy, when you talk, listen, when you talk about Marcus Davenport and it's unfortunate that he got hurt and his body looks so this and that. You fantastic. Marcus Davenport. Right? Ooh, honey boo boo, back in business, better than ever. Ooh. If you know, use the hashtag. You can't talk about all of this and then give this man a contract, which is all incentives. Virtually no guaranteed money for an NFL contract and a player of his stature. Virtually no guaranteed money. You can't do it. And tell me that you really believe in Marcus Davenport's health. Dwayne Farmer says he's taking better care of himself in the offseason, they say about Marcus Davenport. And I say, why did it take 7 years? That's my question. Why did it take 7 years? And why did it take a heavily incentive-laden contract? That's all. If you want me to believe you, when you tell me, I think Marcus Davenport's going to play a whole season, I can't. When I say based on what, I can tell you, based on everything that I've seen, based on the fact that he don't play full seasons ever. He never has. He got two games away from it once. He played 15 games once in his career. And I think the next highest he played was 13 or was it 11? Based on that, that's what I base mine on. Dwayne Fulmer says that I don't know. Exactly. Why it took 7 years is crazy to me. You know? Fredro, I'm smart, not like dumb, and I want respect. Davenport is going to stay healthy based on hopes and dreams. But you know what they say about hopes and dreams. You can hope in one hand and dream in the other and see which one fills up faster. What did they say? If wishes and butts were coffee and nuts or something like that? If was a fifth, we know that one. Believing in Marcus Davenport's health is like spitting in the wind, and you know what happens when you spit in the wind. All these things and all these sayings, we can bring them up, and they are what they are. Justin Fan says Davenport will end up on the Davenport couch after 4 games. Like we took over unders. I put the over under at 7. You know, I hope it's over 7. I hope it's 17. Hell, I hope it's 20, 21, however many we have to play to get to and win the Super Bowl. I hope he participates in every one of those games. And you know how you help him participate in all of the games? Every single one of the games that we have this season. You know how you help him do that? Tell me in the chat, because I know y'all know. Exactly the way that you help Marcus Davenport stay on the field for every single game of the season. What do you need to do to not guarantee that? Because it doesn't matter how much you're on the field. As a football player, you could get on the field for one play and get injured. Ask Emmanuel Mosley. What was it, 2 plays? Okay. But what is the number one way that you are going to help Marcus Davenport be available? Brent Lighton says, if this were fists, we'd all be drunk. Exactly. Right? There's also the fact that beans are good for your heart. The way that we help Marcus Davenport be available, upright, okay? Not on the IR, not on the couch, not on any of that, is to bring Big Z back. Why? Because Big Z will be your starter if you bring him back, and he will rotate with Marcus Davenport. Okay? And as I said, you can get hurt on any play that you step on the field for. It doesn't matter how many you were on the field for. Okay? You could play 80 plays and not get hurt. You can play one play and get hurt on that play. But keeping him fresh, keeping him in a rotation is how you do that. And with Brad, again, your contract that you gave him does not show me that you have any confidence in his health. You have direct incentive language pertaining to health. Speaking of language, let me take a quick little segue here. Okay? This is not our team, but this has something to do with someone that we actually were looking at drafting, it's reported that we tried to trade up for Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart is embroiled in a contract dispute with the Cincinnati Bengals, and there's already Cincinnati Bengals fans who don't know what the contract dispute is about, turning on Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart is trying to get language similar to all the other rookie contracts that the Bengals have recently signed. Apparently, what the Bengals are trying to do is give him void years in his rookie contract, which no one does. So he has left camp. He has spoken publicly about them wanting to win an argument and not more games. Shamar Stewart is doing the right thing. Okay? It's not about every time you see a contract dispute and you think that he's greedy, whatever the case may be, as my man Tactical pointed out, it's a rookie contract. You can't hold out for money. It's slotted. Right? It's slotted. You can't hold out for it. Whatever slot that he was picked, was he picked 19th? No. Where was he picked? 17th. The 17th overall pick has a slot. You're going to make this much money as a 17th overall pick. He's not arguing with the Bengals for money. Okay? So I just like to inform people because a lot of people are not informed about what's happening. So they make assumptions and they look like asses when they make assumptions. Brent Lighton says, save Davenport for the playoffs for real. The bungholes bingled it again. This isn't on the rookie. The team sucks. Exactly. Okay. So when the team comes out and they try to do things that other teams don't do, like put void years in the rookie contract, the rookie should be looking for his money. All right. So we talked about Brad Holmes. We talked about what he had to say about Ben Johnson. We talked about what he had to say about Marcus Davenport and Ahmed Hassanin. Brad Holmes also talked about the interior defensive line. And he talked about it doesn't really matter what you do on the outside, what you do on the edge. If you don't have that interior defensive line intact, it is going to be tough sledding for you for this season. And of course, we agree to that. And of course, we understand why they drafted Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams is a Aleem McNeil clone, but he also said that he believes that Tyleik coming in as a rookie at this point in his career, okay, where he's at the beginning of his career, is more advanced than where Aleem McNeil was at this point in his career. And yes, that's pretty simple to understand because Aleem McNeil was a 3rd round pick. Tyleik Williams was a 1st round pick. Okay. He talked up the Roy Lopez signing. He talked up the drafting of Tyleik Williams and things of this nature. But again, it's going to be a big blow because we are missing Aleem McNeil. We got Wingo coming back, but I think he's probably going to be around. Correct me if I'm wrong. He got hurt somewhere near the Bills game. It was either in the Bills game or a little bit before it. So if Rodrigo is not coming back until November, and Aleem McNeil's not coming back until November, Mekhi Wingo's probably not coming back till November either. So we've got a lot of people from the interior defensive line who are not going to be available for us for most of the season. So you got Tyleik, you got Roy. Who else you got? Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, they can kick inside. So it's even more pertinent. It's even more important that you have someone like a Marcus Davenport stay healthy. Again, not counting on it at all. It's more important that you bring in a guy like Zadarius Smith. Why is this? Because again, I told you 2 guys that they have at the position to rotate in. We're not talking about DJ Reader because DJ Reader is your starter on the other side. Okay, and he's expected to start. You got a rookie and a journeyman. Roy Lopez, Tyleik Williams. If one of those guys gets hurt and Marcus Davenport is also hurt, then you have problems. All right, then you've got Josh Pascal being the starter again on the opposite of Hutch, and you've got Levi Onwuzurike playing in the middle. So I understand the importance of interior line depth, but we don't really have it because everyone is on the IR, and they will not be back until late in the season. We're talking about Thanksgiving or after. Tyleik is way faster at his size than Aleem was when he was 340 pounds. Yes. So Aleem had to slim down and do the body transformation. He had to develop in ways where Tyleik is not expected to have to develop. Obviously, Tyleik is a rookie, so he's not fully polished. He's going to have to develop in some ways. But yes, that's why Brad said that he was further along in his process than Aleem was when he came into the league. Tactical Spork says, so for my mandatory Broderick Martin rant. There you go. I forgot about Broderick Martin. I would like to ask a question. How many games will he be a healthy scratch in this season? Well, again, that goes to my depth comments. We don't have depth. So if you're going to have to play, whatever it is, regardless, you're going to have to play, whether it's a snap or two, whether it's to really just like give somebody a breather, literally like 2 snaps or 1 snap at a time. You're just throwing a body out there because until November, we don't have anybody else. Unless they're going to poach someone from another practice squad, which he talked about that as well. Unless they're going to wait for someone to get cut from a roster in training camp. All of these are viable options. But, Broderick Martin, I don't think is long for this team. When Brad Holmes was talking about what they have on the inside, he did not say Broderick Martin's name. Okay. Just like he didn't say anything about Big Z, but Big Z is not under contract on your team. Broderick Martin is, and he didn't say his name. That silence to me was more damning than the Big Z silence, because the Big Z silence, if you're not silent, it comes with punishment because they can get you for tampering. So Actually, I don't know that they could get him for tampering because he was last on their team. They cut him. He is a free agent. I don't know if that would be tampering. Yeah, let me not say that. But I think GMs are just cautious with the way that they talk about players that aren't on their team. The smart ones are anyway. Bromart has to work his butt off to make this team. He might make the practice squad because no one will roster him. And I like Bromart. I just see reality. So I'll be going to November. Going to November. Wycliffe. If you know, you know, use the hashtag. Got you. I think they're going to re-sign Za'Darius. Brent Lighton says people assume Tyreek is a nose, but he played 70% of his snaps last year at the 3 tech or the 5 tech. I think Tyreek is going to have to do multiple things. I think him and DJ Reader are going to have to rotate a little bit. I don't know what the front is going to look like with Coach Shep as the defensive coordinator. But what I do expect from Coach Shep is more linebacker involvement within the defense. What I don't want to see, and I've said this before, is more linebacker blitzes. Okay, because when you blitz the linebackers in cover and you take them out of coverage situations, you open up the middle of the field. So I hope and I pray, and this is why I've been beating and pounding the table for edge rush help, that we get edge rush help so that we don't have to manufacture the pressure, right? We don't have to send blitzes. We don't have to do that. Like, a well-timed blitz is a defensive coordinator's best friend. Well-timed. But AG was at the point where AG had to blitz all the time. You knew a blitz was coming. You just had to identify where it was coming from. Because we didn't have any bodies. We didn't have people that could get to the passer because everyone was on IR. So, as I said, I hope Marcus Davenport does play the entire season. I hope he does. I really do. Also, he touched on Frank Ragnow. Okay. And basically what he was talking about with Frank Ragnow is basically his impact, not just on the field, but in the locker room. So he said that you can't replace him because you're not just talking about the player, which was a magnificent player who worked hard, worked his butt off, gave everything he had to the team, gave up his body to the team. Pause. And that's not just what you're replacing. You're trying to replace the person. You know, he talked about how good of a person he was. He talked about how he was the first person that, or the first player that contacted him when he got the GM job and things of this nature. So it's going to be tough. You know, he talked about basically the autonomy that Jared Goff has at the line, and he's in tune with that autonomy. Now, here's the good thing about that autonomy and someone being in tune with it. We have Graham Glasgow. And Graham Glasgow played center for us. Okay? Graham Glasgow filled in for Frank when he was injured. Okay? I think, yes, the Seattle game where Jared Goff threw his perfect game, he was the center, Graham Glasgow. So that, as much as we talk about how Graham Glasgow had a down year, I'm actually more comfortable with the loss of Frank Ragnow because of the presence of Graham Glasgow. I'm not saying that Graham Glasgow is anywhere near the player. I'm not saying that Graham Glasgow is going to completely just step in and there's not going to be a beat and miss. I think Graham Glasgow is going to mitigate some of the losses. Again, Graham Glasgow was the backup center for a reason. He wasn't the starter. But with him understanding the terminology, not the technology, with him understanding the terminology, with him understanding what Goff likes. Okay. I think that their rapport as quarterback and starting center is it's miles above what it would be if you're saying, okay, well, Tate Ratledge, you got to come in here and first you got to learn how to play center, and then you got to learn what Jared Goff likes. Then you got to learn how to, you got to call the protections and, all these things. So I think Graham Glasgow and Jared Goff have the ability to be more in tune. All right. Let's see what y'all got. Okay. Another thing that came up, this is more of a national media thing. I think it was called Breakfast Bowl. I don't remember the host's name, but I know the guy sounded like he was day drinking. He sounded drunk. Now, from what he was saying, I know some people took it out of context. He said the Bears are going to be better. He said the Packers are going to be better. And he said he doesn't know what the Vikings are going to be because of J.J. McCarthy. He was talking about within the division. He didn't put the Lions as locks like he had them for the past couple of years, locks to win the division. He didn't say the Bears were going to be better than the Detroit Lions. He didn't say that the Packers were going to be better than the Detroit Lions. He said that the Bears were going to be better as a team, and the Packers are going to be better as a team, not better than. So there's a difference. So a lot of the stuff that he said I didn't agree with. He doesn't like Johnny Morton because he's a New Yorker, and Johnny Morton was there with the Jets. Okay? With the Jets, Johnny Morton's quarterbacks were Josh McCown and Bryce Petty. Okay? Not Brock Purdy, Bryce Petty. He had Bilal Powell and he had Matt Forte, who was 32 years old at the time. Jermaine Kearse and Robbie Chosen Anderson were your wide receivers. But here's the thing that I didn't know about Johnny Morton. I did know that when Johnny Morton was the offensive coordinator of the New York Jets, that Josh McCown, Bilal Powell, and Robbie Chosen Anderson had career years. They had their best years that they've had in their careers under Johnny Morton. What I didn't know is when he was the passing game coordinator for was it Las Vegas? It might have been Oakland at the time. Anyway, for the Raiders. He was the passing game coordinator for 2 years. This is the best 2-year stint of Derek Carr's career. So here's what I'm saying. Everywhere Johnny Mo go, okay? I had to make it rhyme. You know how I do. Everywhere Johnny Mo go, the quarterback seems to have the best year of his career or the best years of his career. Last year, what was Johnny Morton doing? Does anybody remember what Johnny Morton was doing last year? Because again, it fits. Okay? Because what is the question that we see out there? Who is going to be more affected by the new coordinator? Is it going to be the defense? Is it going to be the offense? Last year, Johnny Mo was the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Who did the Denver Broncos have at quarterback? Bo Nix. There were people that were telling you that Bo Nix was better than Caleb Williams. There were people that were telling you that Bo Nix had a better season than Caleb Williams. Bo Nix definitely won more games than Caleb Williams. Bo Nix got his team to the playoffs, but Caleb Williams could not. Bo Nix looked like a better pick than Caleb Williams did last season. Now, obviously, there's circumstances. Caleb Williams got drafted to the Chicago Bears and it was a dumpster fire. And then we found out this year that Caleb Williams, I think he wrote the book or his father wrote the book or they wrote the book together, didn't want to come to Chicago. he wanted to go to the Vikings because the Vikings had an offensive coach and Chicago had Matt Eberflus. But if I'm not mistaken, Bo Nix was the 6th quarterback taken, I think, in the first round. Let's count them. Caleb Williams was 1. Jaden Daniels was 2. Drake May was 3. Who was the 4th one taken? JJ McCarthy was the 4th one taken. Michael Penix was the 5th one taken. Yes. And Bo Nix was the 6th. I got that recall. You know what I'm saying? Total recall. You understand what I'm talking about? Bo Nix looked really good. Okay? He looked really good. If I'm not mistaken, the passing game coordinator works with quarterbacks, right? He doesn't just sit around and go, ooh, pass the ball. Who's that guy? What's his name? Bo Nix? Oh, that kid looks good. I wish I could talk to him. I wish I could help him develop, but I can't. I'm just a passing game coordinator. I'm up in the booth, and I don't even have his phone number. I don't spend any time with him at practice. I don't have any effect on his game as a quarterback. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Tate was a backup center for Georgia. Just have to bring him up to speed. Yeah, you have to bring him up to speed, but he is a rookie, and he has to learn how to play the position on the NFL level. I don't have any disbelief in Tate Ratledge being able to step in at some point. But what I was talking about was from the beginning of the season. Like when we go up against the Green Bay Packers, Jared Goff is going to be under center, and that center is going to be Graham Glasgow. And just his veteran presence and understanding of the system, understanding of the offense, and understanding of Goff to whatever degree he works with him and understands him. I feel better about the Frank Ragnow. So that's the wrong word. I don't feel good about the Frank Ragnow departure at all. And I don't think that it's just some tiny thing. A lot of people think, oh, it's next man up. Okay, that's cool. It's next man up because you don't have a choice. Frank Ragnow retired. Okay, now here's the other thing about the Frank Ragnow retirement. Brad Holmes didn't know going into the draft that Frank Ragnow was retiring. Brad Holmes said he knew this thing was probably going to come to an end sooner rather than later. But he had thought maybe, he'll play this season. Maybe it'll be next season or whatever the case may be. So Brad Holmes didn't have the knowledge that Frank Ragnow was retiring going into the draft because we may have seen things work out a little bit differently. Maybe we don't take Tyleek. Maybe we do trade up and get a center because what centers were there and available around 28? Okay. So he did not know about that. But that was just my point, that because Graham Glasgow has the experience, because he has played it for us before, because he understands the system, okay, and he understands the quarterback to whatever degree that he understands him, it's going to be easier for them to develop more chemistry this offseason than it would be with a rookie, regardless of whether he played backup center or not. So I think Tate Ratledge is the successor for sure. And they liked him at center during rookie minicamp and things of this nature. So I think, yes, he's going to be the successor. I think he will step in seamlessly and take over for Graham Glasgow, but not yet. Okay. But yeah, so Johnny Moe, I really believe, and with him being a former receiver that ran a 4.3 in gym shoes at the combine. Okay, like I think it's what shoes did he say he had on? I don't think he said Air Force Ones. I think it was something like Reebok, something, but it wasn't like the shoes he should have been running in. It wasn't like track cleats or little turf spikes. It was gym shoes. So Johnny Mo is pretty fast. Okay. So Johnny Mo has a unique perspective because he played receiver and he's worked with quarterbacks and he's worked with Sean Payton and John Gruden and Dan Campbell. He's worked with some of the most brilliant offensive minds in the game. Okay? So he has all of this experience and this knowledge. He has different platforms he can pull from. So I think he'll be good for Jared Goff. I think focusing on the turnovers coming down, like I've said before, I think his plan is to just, if Jared throws a pick, take it out of his hands for a series. Okay, let him sit it out, not meaning put him on the bench, but say, nah, we're not about to just get back on this horse and start throwing the football again. And this is what the problem with Osama Ben Johnson is, that whenever Goff would throw a pick, then Osama just sends him right back out there to keep firing. But I don't think that's the way that you do it. I think that you kind of take a step back, relax, compose yourself, lean heavy on the run game, and then you can get back in there. Basically once you see that, hey, hopefully your defense has stopped them after they got the interception and your offense comes down and drives it down methodically and you get points, whether it's 3 or 7, So then I believe that the quarterback is now calmed down a bit. He's got another series to take off, which is the defense coming back out, and he's going to get back on the field. So I think that is going to be the pathway to cutting down on the turnovers. What up, though, Zach? Jay. All right. Do you guys have any mailbag questions? Get your mailbag questions in. We'll do some mailbag, and then we will head on out. I got a pretty busy day today. I said he was fast, right? Didn't I say he was fast? He's not fast now, no. He definitely is not fast now. I used to run a 4.3 as well. I can't run one anymore. Okay, I can't run one no more, just like Johnny Mo. Okay, can't do it. All right, mailbag. Yeah, that's him. Where's TaylorMade, man? TaylorMade carried one. Shout out to TaylorMade, man. Let me tell y'all about TaylorMade, and I hope he sees this. I'm actually gonna tweet it to him so he'll pick it up, because I gotta give TaylorMade his flowers. Somebody told me, okay, a long time ago, that TaylorMade likes to disagree with you. He likes to try to teach you things so that you should block him from your channel, just like that person did. I'm glad I'm not an idiot and I didn't listen, and I didn't listen to that person, because TaylorMade is one of the coolest dudes. I really appreciate his insight. We go back and forth about Lynn Barney and stuff like this, but TaylorMade is a cool dude, man. So shout out to TaylorMade. I wanted to give him his flowers, and I will tweet him and let him know. What is this? We've been about an hour and 9 minutes. So yeah, about 108, something like that, 107. Get in there, TaylorMade. Go ahead and check this out. Zach J says, when Goff throws a pick, Osama apparently was asking Jameson if he could play QB. That did happen. That happened once. How's the food truck going? Food truck's going good. I actually do. We have an event today. My son's soccer team. We went out there the Sunday before last to his game. They asked us to come out for the seniors game. So the adult guys are going to be playing today at 3 p.m. So we're going to be out there slinging that product. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, it's going pretty well. Zach J says we have a lot of players coming up. We want to pay Gibbs, Branch, Laporta, Jameson, Hutch, Campbell. If we don't re-sign them all, who do you think we let go? Okay, that is a good question because I did forget. Now, Jeff Risden, everyone heard this yesterday. He also apparently cleaned it up. He said that Jameson Williams was going to get done sooner rather than later. And he meant that sooner meant next offseason. But he said that he was ebulliently confident that this would happen. Okay? Who do we let go? Again, the way that my bank account is set up, I got a check-ins and a savings. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. We don't have to let anyone go. And I'm gonna keep. Remember, I don't know if you were here, Zach J, when Kirby Joseph's contract details came out. This is the kind of contract that you give multiple players because it gives you flexibility to move around. Kirby Joseph has very few base salaries. Most of his, or I should say, he not very few base salaries. He has very little money tied up in base salaries. Okay? And that allows his cap hits to be very low. Most of his money is on his contract as option bonuses. Okay? Most of his money is on his contract as option bonuses. He's going to get that money. The option bonuses are going to trigger. I don't know when they trigger, but they're going to trigger. It's like they've put it in a way where it's like, okay, it's not like you're not going to get the money, but we structure it in this way so that it keeps your cap hit low. Another thing is this. Next season, okay, the Lions are slated to be last in cap space. Like, we're not going to have any cap space because Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jared Goff, that's when their big cap hits kick in, right? We know that Amon-Ra St. Brown, his extension is $30 million per year. I don't remember exactly what Penei Sewell's is. Jared Goff next year is going to have a $69 million cap hit. None of those players are going to see their cap hits. Are they going to see their money? Yes, all of it. And I keep going back to the situation with Matthew Stafford. Okay? If you want to know how they make money disappear, they make money disappear. Matthew Stafford had a $60 million cap hit when the Rams traded for him. Okay? He was going to count $60 million against their cap. He wound up costing $1 million against their cap that same season. And the reason was because they converted the $60 million into a signing bonus. Okay? They converted the $60 million into the signing bonus. So it was basically like he was playing for free, less $1 million or plus $1 million. Okay? So to answer your question, I don't believe that we have to move anybody. But what I would say is we can't move. Who do you think is easier to replace? Do you think Sam Laporta is easier to replace or Jack Campbell? Okay? If you remove Gibbs and J-Mo from the offense, or if you remove Gibbs from the offense, Gibbs is not a running back that you find every year. You can't look around this league and go, oh, that's a Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a Jahmyr Gibbs. You know why I compared Jahmyr Gibbs to CJ2K? You know why I did that? Because you don't see this type of guy come around often. When was CJ2K at his prime? 2013, 2014, something like that? Okay? I can look it up. Um 2009. Okay. I was a Okay. 2009 is when he did CJ when he rushed for 2,000 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted in what, 23? Okay. Are you following me? You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. So it had been 14 years since a guy like CJ2K came on the scene. So if we're moving on from somebody, definitely it's not going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Especially now that the running back market, I believe, is going through a resurgence. You got Saquon Barkley, you got Derrick Henry, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got Josh Jacobs, you got, all the, to a lesser degree, not because I was thinking of Najee Harris, but he's not at all. A guy like Kyron Williams. Now, Kyron Williams, I think he was a 5th round draft pick. Shout out to Lil Cuz, though. Shout out to Lil Cuz. If y'all didn't know, Kyron Williams and Jameson Williams are cousins. Kyron Williams does fumble a lot. But, now teams, especially, remember the NFL is a copycat league. Bijan Robinson is here. Okay? In the same draft, in the same round, Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs are separated by 4 picks. Jahmyr Gibbs could have been picked 2 picks above Bijan Robinson. Brad Holmes has said multiple times that he was comfortable taking Jahmyr at 6. If you're comfortable taking a running back at 6, he's getting a second contract. Especially when he pans out to be exactly what you thought he would be. And he's got another level that he can go to. I know that's a long-winded answer to your question. I'm going to say the popular answer is probably Laporta. And the reason that it's Laporta is because he had a down year last season and the offense was historical. He wasn't getting as many targets and he did have some drops here and there, and he wasn't affecting the game in the way that he did his rookie season. And the offense never missed a beat. It was actually a better offense this season because of the emergence of Jameson Williams. Right? And also, as long as Johnny Moe is your offensive coordinator, guy loves J-Mo. So I think, unfortunately, it would be Laporta, but I believe that you can get everybody done. Tactical Sports says, update, I've got 75 credits out of the needed 120 credits for my bachelor's degree in computer science. My cousin is recruiting me for a job in California. I don't want to move to California. What's the job? I feel you, but can you work remotely? Can you, you know what I mean? I mean, it is computer science. We do a lot of remote stuff on computers. So I don't know what would it be in the hardware field? Probably not, right? Probably software development. So I don't know. I try to work that out. Just be like, cuz let me work remotely. If you can work remotely and travel back and forth to California every twice a month or once a month or whatever, that would be gravy. So I don't know. I don't know what options you have explored, but I would explore those options. All right. Do we have any more questions pertaining to the Detroit Lions or anything else before I roll up out of here? Let me know. Once again, also, let me confirm this now because I just I want to confirm with Doc if we're good for Monday. Like I said, I want to have Doc on Monday because we have the LNU crowd in here as well on Mondays. So, yeah. Can I let the Lions media borrow my mic since theirs does not work? Well, mine didn't work a couple days ago. Yeah, they could pay me for it. You know what I'm saying? I could lease it out to them. I can't let them do it for free because they got it. They got it. The Lions may want to cry poor. They may want to tell you they're broke. We know they got it. They got it. All right, y'all. Appreciate you once again for coming through, hanging out, stopping by. Tired of hearing answers and no questions. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I think they had tried to fix it like last year when they got the new performance center or whatever. They upgraded their media room, but it seems to have gone like kind of backwards. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll bring in some newer people to contract the job of wiring the room for sound. We'll see what happens. All right, y'all. Once again, appreciate you for coming through, stopping by, hanging out. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I need to do better with content, bro. I need to do better with getting stuff out and doing videos and clips and stuff like that. But I have been very busy these last few weeks. I just looked at before. I haven't done a clip since the 31st of May. So nothing has happened in June, the first 14 days. So I need to get better at that. But I will just get some things ironed out, finish some projects that I'm working on, and hopefully we can do that. All right. So the Motor City Cats are back at it. We came to give you stats and not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out once again. Peace.